Blood, Bilge, and Iron Balls, Age of Sail by Alan Abbey. Let's try a bigger fight than just the 1v1. Dateline, October 18th, 1782. Somewhere off the coast of Hispaniola, we have two French ships. We have the Scipion, a 74-gun third-rate vessel, backed up by the 40-gun Sibylle. I don't know who the captain of the Sibylle is, but the Scipion was captained by Nicholas Henri de Gramont. I don't know how you pronounce it. Captain Nick. I didn't see the captain of this one. Oh well. On this side, we've got the British and the Black Sails. We've led by the 98-pound HMS London. Hey, we saw that ship in the last video. And then we've got the 74... Oh, that's by Captain James Kempthorne now, is sailing that. We've got the 74-gun Torbay, captained by John Gideon. So we got a second-rate ship, a third-rate ship, and then down here we have the tiny little 14-gun sloop, the Badger. In the historical action, the French ships are trying to escape the British, and it doesn't go well for them. The London and the Torbay are in hot pursuit of the Sibylle and the Scipion. In point of fact, the Badger did not arrive in time to take part in the historical action. We are going to bring them on turn 3 and see if they arrive. Now, this is not a fair fight. Naval battles very rarely are fair fights. This is an expensive piece of equipment, and you're not going to risk it if there's any chance you're going to lose. The only reason that this fight happened is that the French were caught unawares, and yeah, funny how that keeps happening, isn't it? Let's take a look at the ship's records. Blood, Bilge, and Iron Balls has a very simple, quick reference sheet, and it uses a deck of cards for damage. However, all of the information you need for your vessels is contained on... We'll start with the French. We've got the Sibylle, 40-gun frigate, like it says, and then we've got 4 guns on each side. So we've condensed all that down. 2 complements of Marines, and as you can see, 4. Now, each of these, I think, represents 5 guys. So 35, 70, 140 men on the 40-gun frigate. Up to, what do we got? 5 fires, and then the speed. You can see, let's compare this to the 74-gun ship of the line, the Scipion, or is that Scipion? So as you can see, the Scipion moves 7 at half sail, 10, and then we've got 7, 11. So the Sibylle, or the Sibylle, I don't know how you pronounce that, is going to be a little bit faster, but it doesn't have quite as many guns. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 on each side here. Again, 2 complements of Marines and a whole lot more dudes. On the side of the British, we have the little sloop, the HMS Badger. As I said, he's going to come on, you know, come to think of it, 3, let's bring him on turn 5. This game, the turns go pretty quick. And as you can see, he's -2 to all shooting dice. Sloop is going to be, you know, up and down. It's a little harder to aim, and it's just 1. So he may not have any effect, even if he appears in time. But, you know, sometimes these little guys can make all the difference. We've got the HMS Torbay, a 74-gun ship of the line. 2, 4, 6, 7 shots per side. A lot more hull points. Look at that. This little guy, little pop gun, he's only got 3 hull points before he's out of the action. Here, we've got a whole lot more. You can see a bigger ship's complement. And then one other thing I should point out, yeah, the sloop, look, they don't have as many guys in the command deck. So they can't take nearly as much punishment. See, 6 points, they can take six hits to the command. And then the big boy, the ship of the line, the 90-gun HMS London. And, you know, look at all those crew stars, just all kinds of them. Historically, this was one of those long chases where the primary weapons used were the stern guns and the bow guns, with the London occasionally managing to get a broadside in. And thanks to their superior firepower, the London was able to close with and actually come to within musket distance. At that point, the Sibylle circled back around, distracted the London just long enough that although they were, you know, basically, you know, trading paint, as the NASCAR guys say, the Scipion was able to back water, come around behind the London, and actually hit her with a fairly substantial stern rake. But they were both so badly damaged at this point that they kind of stood off from each other. Effected repairs, the Scipion caught a gust of wind and was off to the races. Again, we're talking about the historical result here, which I don't know if you can call it a victory or defeat for either side. The Scipion was able to escape, get into the harbor of San Domingo in hot pursuit. Right close behind were both the London and the HMS Torbay. So the French ship makes it into the harbor, and then it hits a rock and it sinks. But nobody died at least, so they got that going for them. Is it a victory? Is it a loss? I don't know. So we're going to do things a little bit different than I expected. We are going to start off with just these 3 ships on the board. The Torbay is going to come on later, and in fact, so too will our little sloop, the cute little HMS Badger. What I'll do is at the start of every turn, I'm going to roll a d6. And when that tally gets to 20, we will bring on the Torbay. When that tally gets to 30, we will bring on the Badger. That'll be, probably somewhere around turn 10. Now, bear in mind, the early turns should go pretty quickly. And what this does is it gives us a bit of a fair fight with the 40 gun and the 74 gun being pursued by the 90 gun. This is definitely not a fair fight for the French, but if we bring on the British ships kind of one at a time, piecemeal like that, not only will it replicate what happened historically, but it gives the French a fighting chance to escape. If they can survive until, I don't know, what do you call it, turn 15, then we will say they've reached the harbor of San Domingo. As the action on our table picks up, you can see we got our turn counter over there. It is turn number 1. Ship records ready to go. The Scipion, is it pronounced Scipion or Scipion? I want to pronounce it like scissors. Scipion, I'm assuming it's like scorpion, is offset a little bit. They're both headed to the northwest still. The HMS London is in hot pursuit. They've just completed a fairly ineffective broadside. The ships are undamaged. The Sybil is coming to her rescue. The plan here is for the Sybil to cut across the bow of the London and see if she can do some damage to spring the Scipion loose. As I said, we're going to roll a d6 for our reinforcements. When this hits 20, we will bring the other British ship called the Torbay. Will come on, and she is a 74-gun ship in the southeast corner. Winds to the northwest. If this comes up as a 1, that's pretty good. So we're going to keep a running total. If this comes up as a 1, we will shift the wind by 1 point, and we'll roll. It'll be 50-50 whether it goes to the northwest or whether it goes clockwise or counterclockwise. So we begin with repairs. No one is damaged. The black ships, of course, the black sails will be for the black... Should we do that? Yeah, the black sails will be for the black numbers. In this case, the red cards will be for the French ship. British ships have the black sails. We'll use the black cards. This is the shooting. And as you can see, our shooting range, the Sybil, is not within the British ship's firing arc. The British effect repairs, but there's no repairs to effect, and the French get the first bit of movement. So the French are going to the easy one at full sail. The French ship is going to go ahead and move the full 10 inches like that. The Sybil over here at full sail is going to be able to move 11 inches, and she will be able to make one 30-degree turn. I don't know if she wants to do that or not. My table is nowhere near big enough. If I was smart, I would probably go ahead and cut all these measurements in half. What are you going to do? That does bring black sails. Now the British get to move. It's too bad. If the French had gotten to fire, the Sybil has a good line on the London. As it is, the London is going to get to move, and the London is going to go ahead and move up 10 inches, and then we are going to rotate. That's under full sail at this point. And then we are going to go ahead and give her a 30-degree twist like that. Does that bring the Sybil into the range of her guns? If we lay our lines down, it's a very mathematical game here. We measure from the front mast. No. However, it may be that the Sybil now does have a line on the London. We're okay there if we offset this just a little bit. I really need to get one of those laser pointers, don't I? You can see that we are going to get a shot off with the Sybil. So as with historical, the Sybil is coming back to try to rescue the larger ship, and the Sybil only has 4 guns. The Sybil will be firing at between 6 and 12 inches. So if we check our quick reference sheet, the Sybil will be hitting on at up to 12 inches on a 4, 5, or a 6. And for every hit, 3 altogether, we are going to mark off. So our 90-gun ship of the line loses 15 crew members or 3 star points on the ship roster. Then we have to draw 3 damage cards, and I'm going to cut the deck just to show you that we're keeping it all above board. The damage deck gets shuffled between every turn. So we get 3 hits. And the order is important. 8 of diamonds, queen of diamonds, or hearts rather, and the 10 of diamonds. Checking our damage sheet, I really, you know what would be great? We need a deck of cards that's specific for this game, much like you see in Fistful of Lead, with all the special rules right on it. That way you wouldn't have to check this chart. Save you a couple of seconds every time. So the 8 and the queen of hearts results in a total of 2 hull boxes, and then 3 more hull boxes. So 5 hull boxes are hit on the London. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that takes the London down to her first gray hull box. That box cannot be repaired. So these 5 will stick with her for the remainder of the game. It can be repaired, but you have to haul her out, dry dock, drag her ashore. Within the context of an engagement, it can't be repaired. And then our last card is going to be the 10 of diamonds. Now, every time you see a diamond, you should be aware that is a command damage. So we lose 3 more crew for a total of 6 crew. And that will be the end of the firing for the French. We move on to the next turn. We're going to shuffle each of these decks, but first let's see what our reinforcements are. 2, so the running total is up to 8. We've shifted our camera to follow the focus, and I'm going to cut these one more time. And that is it for the cleanup between turns. The Black King means the British get to move first. The British are going to move the full 10 inches, and then they are going to, so there's 10 inches right there, and then they are going to reduce sail to half sail. Are they going to change heading at all? Yeah, let's go ahead and change that 1 point back to parallel the course of the Scipion. That's the only movement we have this turn. The Red Joker, the French don't have any damage to control. The Red King means that the French now get to go, and that's good because it means our Sybil is going to be able to get the heck out of dodge. She is still at full sail. She is capable of moving 11 inches. She is going to, when you turn, you can turn at full sail. You can turn up to 2 points, but they have to be in the same direction. No turning to the left and then moving and then turning to the right and skating through, which does limit the Sybil's options just a little bit. I do think, and the other thing is she has to move that full 11 inches because you have to, and the idea behind that is you have to plan ahead. You have to guess what your opponent is going to do and guess what you want to do next turn. No deciding now here at the beginning of the movement after the British have moved, well, I only want to move 6. Because ideally, that's what the Sybil would do. She would only move 6 inches and she'd wind up somewhere right here. Unfortunately, we didn't know that the British would move first, so we are stuck with dancing with the one that brung us, as they say. So in light of all of that, let's go ahead and I kind of think we still have the advantage of the wind at this point. Let's go ahead and turn the 2 points. We're going to cut across her bow. So there's 1 point, and there's the second point. Now we're going to be moving, maybe we should stay, we're going to stay at full sail for 1 more turn. I know what we got to do here to make this work because we're near the end of the table. I'm going to go ahead and move her 3 inches up. Let's go ahead and move 4 inches up. And then we'll do our 30 and our 60-degree turn. And then we'll move our other 8 inches, which will put us right here in the midst of the cards. So we are badly out of position at this point, but we'll be able to swing around into the wind. And because she's still at full sail now, she'll move half distance on the next turn, and we may be able to swing wide and cut around behind the HMS London on the next turn. Meanwhile, these guys are going to, since the Sybil is very vulnerable, should we go ahead and stick with the full sail? Yeah, let's do that. So there's another 10 inches. And the next card is going to be for the ace. Black ace means the British get to fire. They don't have anybody in any of their firing arcs. So the next card is the Black Joker. And the British have been waiting for this. The good news is, the bad news is they've taken a lot of damage. The good news is they don't have a lot of options. And the other good news is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 1 point left in their 9th crew star. So their carpenter is still alive. So they're going to get 9 chances to bring some boys back into the fight. The doctors are working overtime. Let me just go ahead and grab a total of 9 dice here. And we'll use red. I think those will show up better. For every 5 or 6, one crew will get back into the fight. That's a pretty terrible roll for the British. With just 1 repair, we'll erase one of those damage tokens, and that is going to be it for the British. The red means the French get to shoot, but the French don't have any shots, do they? So that's the end of the turn. We roll our d6. We'll advance our counter to turn number 3, and roll for reinforcements. So our reinforcement count goes up to 9, and the wind is going. Oh, I should declare first. The wind on a 1, 2, 3. It's going to rotate counterclockwise. So the wind adjusts from basically the 9 o'clock. Wait a minute. We were at northwest, which would be 10:30. We're going to adjust it. It's going to be at 11 o'clock now. And that means, and that's bad for the Sybil. She is now facing directly into the wind. She cannot move at all. She may wind up being left behind on this turn. Do we have any other cleanup that we have to do? I don't think so. We didn't draw any damage cards, so we don't need to shuffle the damage deck at all. We just need to reshuffle our Pretty Lady deck. And we are now on turn number. That was the 3rd die we rolled. We're on turn number 3. And to start the turn, the French are going to get to move. This is the chart that shows how your speed is affected by the direction of the vessel, which should be pretty self-explanatory. If the wind is off of this quarter, you move at full speed, 2/3 speed, half speed. I don't know how fast you move here. It does mention in the text that ships were so sophisticated they could turn their sails far enough to be able to catch just enough wind to allow forward movement. In fact, there's a weird like Bernoulli effect where the wind blowing across the sails would allow the suction to pull the ship forward. So because we're not given an actual distance, I'm going to rule that when you are sailing dead into the wind, you can move 1 inch, that you move a minimum of 1 inch anytime. And that's what's going to happen to the Sybil. Conveniently enough for us in this situation, that will keep the Sybil on the table. And the other thing it will allow her to do, because she is turning into the wind, and this is something else I've been getting wrong, the wind is in, actually she's not directly into the wind, but she's definitely in that quarter where there's, quote, no movement. She's going to spin 90 degrees, and she's going to move up just that 1 inch. And I guess I should spin her around her center mast. And then she's going to move forward just that 1 little inch. So not a whole lot of movement here, but she now does have the wind at that, if the wind is at this direction, that wind is probably going to be at the 2/3 speed if it doesn't change direction the next turn. In the meantime, our vessel up here, the Scipion, is going to just continue racing with the wind. And she is going to move the full distance. So after adjusting and moving things around, I really don't have a large enough table for this game. She is just kissing the edge of the table. And that's all right, because we know the British are going to move, and then we're going to be able to adjust all of our ships on the next turn. And if the Sybil falls off the edge of the table, then we'll say she's too far away to take any further effect in the battle. With the Black Joker, the British have another opportunity to repair their crew, and they get 1, 2 successes. So the 5 damage go to 3 damage. And then with the ace, boy, we really could have used a fire there, huh? With the ace of diamonds, the London is going to get back some of what the Sybil gave her, ain't she? So if we line our little template up here, we're in this direction. And the Sybil, thanks to moving so slowly, is outside of the fire arc. The London still does not have a shot at her. Does the London want to settle for the lesser prize? Will the London let the big ship get away and try to grab the 40-gun ship? And we're going to let the dice decide. On a 1, 2, or a 3, we will continue pursuit of the big prize. On a 4, 5, or a 6, the captain decides, you know what? A 40-gun ship is still a pretty good amount of money. So on a 1, 2, or a 3, we're still going after the big prize, and we will move our full sail 10 inches, trying to catch up. Yeah. And then The red joker comes up. There's no damage to the French ships. And then the red ace means the French get to fire. The Sybil is going to take a shot. Oh, no, she's not. She's not quite lined up right to get a shot off. That is going to be the end of turn number 3. So moving on to turn number 4, we roll our reinforcement die. And it comes up as a 4, making our total a 13. I did not adjust any of my ships at all. I don't think it's necessary. The red king means the French are going to get to move first, which I guess is pretty good because the Sybil is moving a little bit quicker. We're going to adjust her so she is in hot pursuit of our 3 ships, and she will be able to move 11 inches. Now, rather than move her forward 11 inches, I'm going to move each of these ships back 11 inches. Although, I'm only going to move the Scipion back 10 inches because the Scipion is still trying to get away. So after the French move, things look something like this. With the red ace, the French get to fire, and I'm gonna double check just to make sure, but I think we can all agree that fortunately for the Sybil, she is going to be able to get a shot off on the London. Unfortunately, the London will be able to return fire this turn, but we'll take what we can get. Now, are they within 6 inches? That is a good question. So here's 6 inches right there. They are just outside, measure mast to mast. They are just outside 6. So hitting on 4s means we get 2 more hits for the... Oh, you know what occurs to me? I forgot to tally off the extra... I don't think... Okay. Every hit crosses off a dot. And then you flip over the cards. So that last one... So the last attack should have done 3 to start with. And then with our 2 cards, we dealt out another 5 hits. So it should have been 8 altogether, meaning that the British could not repair any more than the 1. Once you cross out a full star, you can't bring those guys back. That's the full-time casualties. So at the start of this hit, I need to cross off 2 of these star points off the HMS London. We've corrected that. And then we bring our damage deck down to the field, and we will cross it, or cut it, to prove good intent, and we have 2 cards to reveal, the Jack of Clubs and the 2 of Hearts. If memory serves, in some cases, the 2s are not so bad. The 2 of Clubs is no damage, but 2 of Hearts means we have our first fire started. Before that, we have our Jack of Clubs, and this is important because if we have a fire start here, and then it grows, that's different than grows and then starting, but that's not the case here. So we lose 3 more hull points, and then we have the fire starting. The HMS London has 1, 2, 3 hulls, and then we have to start a fire down here. So they have a little more to worry about in this next damage phase. However, as I said, probably would have been better if the black ace had come up, giving the British time to fire and maybe knock the Sybil out of the fight. As it is, because they get to move now, we're going to go ahead and they're going to be turning, let's see, the wind is at this direction, so they will be turning into the wind if they want to turn. They can move a total of 10 inches again. So there's our 10, and then we're going to turn them 2 points to starboard, trying to bring that enemy vessel into line to get a shot off at them. And then we are going to be able to move another 2 inches to here. And we may be able to fire at both vessels on this next card. Indeed, with a black ace, we are going to be able to open fire. Now, we are within 12 inches of the Sybil, and we are within 12 inches of the Scipion. So this could decide it right here. The 90-gun ship has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Has 18 guns. Wow, so 18 guns. So each one of these cannons represents a broadside of, what, 4.5 guns? Interesting. Either way, we're going to take 9 shots, hitting on 4s, and let's fire at the Sybil first. What do you say? We reshuffle the deck at the end of the turn. Hitting on 4s, we're going to get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits altogether. And are we bow raking? You know, I think we are. I think this is going to be really ugly. To find out if you're bow raking, I use the fighting sail. I don't know if that's legitimate or not, but basically it's if you're within 30 degrees of the bow. it's going to be bow raking, meaning every one of these hits, we draw 2 cards instead of just 1. The cards came up great. So the first thing we do is we knock off, where's the 40-gun frigate? We're going to knock off a full crew star. No, that should be 5. Crew stars have 7. So we've done 5 damage, and then comes the cards, a total of 10 of them. And let me just show you what they are. We got the Queen, 3, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this might take a little while, so I'm going to shut off the camera. We'll be right back. The final tally could have been a lot worse. Altogether, we lost a total of 5 hull boxes, 2 of our starboard guns, 2 masts, but we did lose this sailing master and a little bit of crew. More concertingly, we have 2 fires that have started on the ship. That's going to be a problem. At the end of every repair phase, we don't put them out. They will grow, and then eventually it becomes catastrophic. So it could have been worse given the amount of shot that was headed their way. But remember, that was only the first broadside. The London is capable of firing a broadside in this direction as well. And once again, this will be a stern rake, meaning the London, is going to draw 3 cards for every successful hit. Rolling 9 dice, hitting on 4s, and oh Lord, they's a coming. We start off with 2, 4, 6, 7 boxes. Let's bring that ship's record over here so I can show you what all we have available. With 7 hits, that is going to start by knocking out a full ship's crew. And with 7 hits, we're going to have to draw 21 cards. Friends don't let friends get stern raked. Once again, I'm going to shut the camera down and work my way through from right to left all the way across, and we'll see what kind of shape the Scipion is in at the end of this madness. Not going to lie to you. Just going to rip off the bandage. This one's pretty ugly. We have 5 fires started. We have lost all but 2 of our crew stars. All of the masts are intact. The hull's about halfway down. Very concerning. We've lost 3 guns altogether, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. These 3 command stars mean that our command is shot to ribbons. We really need to take some time to get this situation under control. Until we erase all 3 of those points, we can only fire ragged broadsides. Every time we try to fire a broadside, we roll a d6 for each gun, and on a 4, 5, or a 6, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they're shooting at. Also, if we want to change our sails to half sail, we got to roll a 5 or a 6 to do that. If we want to change direction, we got to roll a 5 or a 6 to change direction that far. So it's going to get to be a lot harder to control our vessel now that it's shot up. But she does still have a little bit of a kick. The red card means that we can try to repair some of that damage, and the first thing we are going to do is we're going to roll a d6 to try to put out this top fire, and then we'll roll a d6 to try to get our command back in place. So first for the fire, it's out, and then for our command, and we still only have 3 boys in there, but at least we put out the most pressing fire. We've saved the ship's putting... Wait a minute, those are French. What would they be cooking? The croissants. The croissants... We put the fire out. They're a little singed, but I think you can still eat them. These guys, the Sybil here, has 3 crew stars left. And let's take a look at her situation. Her sailing master is dead, which means we use the speed in parentheses. She's much slowed. But altogether, I think the critical thing for her, she's got 1, 2, 3 crew stars. We're going to try to put these fires out. And we're going to roll, and on a 5 or a 6, we put both fires out. So the Sybil actually came off a little bit better in that exchange than the Scipion. And that's it for the repair phase. The British get to try to effect repairs of their own, and they have a lot more opportunities here. They still have 8 crew, so we'll roll 8 dice, and we are going to dedicate... What do we want to repair here? Let's roll 4 dice for the fire, and let's roll 3 for the fire. We just need 1, 5, or 6, and then the others will go towards the hull. So the fire's out, and for every 5 or 6, we only get 1. We'll repair 1 hull box. You never know. That might make the difference between victory or defeat. That will be the end of the turn. We'll check for reinforcements, and with a result of a 2, that's probably the best that the French could hope for. That brings our final tally up to 15. maybe should have gone with a little lower number. But hey, maybe the Torbay comes on next turn. And the fact that we're still kind of down in this area, you know what we should do? Rather than doing a stern chase, we should see if the Torbay comes in from like on a 1, 2, 3 or a 4, 5, 6. That would make a lot more sense than just like magically appearing 2 inches away from the Sybil, don't you think? Of course you do. You're a pretty smart guy. Let me do some shuffling. But before we get into that, I forgot. At the end of every damage repair, any fire that is not put out spreads throughout the ship by 1 more track. So if we don't put these out in 3 turns, we draw more cards, more damage cards for the Scipion. Bear that in mind, that fires are very dangerous, and you really got to deal with those. Our first card is going to be the black sails are moving, and we said he is at half speed, half sail, which is good for him. He has all 3 masts. He's going to be able to move 6 inches, and he is going to turn with the wind, so we'll bring him up 2 inches to there, and he can turn up to 90 degrees, which will allow him to, let's leave him about right there so that we can come up alongside on this turn. We don't have quite enough speed to catch the Scipion yet, but we can at least get another broadside in if the cards come up right. And they really kind of don't. As I said, the Scipion is a wounded beast, but a wounded beast is still a threat. On her port side, she only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guns left. Her command points are crossed off. So of those 5 guns, we're going to roll. And for every 4, 5, or a 6, that gun crew is still dealing with the damage of the previous broadside that was delivered. So these 3 guns are confused. They don't know who they're shooting at. They're trying to get the guns reloaded despite all the wreckage. So the Scipion is only going to be able to fire twice. We are within 6 inches. Is the gunnery? What else do we got here? Now, if your gunnery officer is gone, you are going to be at -1 to firing. But that's not the case here. So we do still hit within 6 inches. We do still hit on. Man, I think this is going to be tight. We hit on 3s. So we get a couple of hits on the London, and we're at least, the Scipion is outmatched here. She is outclassed. There's a reason she was running. I have already shuffled my damage deck, and because this is just a simple broadside, it'll be 2 cards is all that we draw. And that's going to be the Ace of Diamonds and the 4 of Spades. And in this case, let me go ahead and grab the cheat sheet. I think it's short enough. We can work through this together. The Ace of Diamonds means 1 section of Marines is... Oh, that could hurt for any potential boarding actions that we want. And the other one was the 4 of Spades, which is 1 gun and 1 crew. As you can see, that gun is going to be on the starboard side. So we cross off 1 gun, 1 crew, and 1 complement of ship's Marines, which will put the London at a distinct disadvantage. You can't repair Marines. I'll wait. Any of you jarheads out there want to make any comments, you go right ahead. It's not my place. I think that's the end of the firing for the French. Indeed it is. So we go back to the turn marker, and the French now get to try to effect some repairs. I think there's no question. We've got so many fires. We are going to try to put out a couple more fires. For the Scipion, we put 1 out, meaning we just have 3 left to deal with. And those 3 advance boom, boom, boom like that. And then for our little frigate, we have 3 opportunities to repair. We got no fires. We can try to repair. I'm going to try to repair. Let me try to fix the mast with 2 dice. And a 1 and a 2 ain't going to cut it. And we'll try to repair the hull with the last one. So no repairs for the plucky little frigate. Who, sorry for the bump. We'll try to get her back into the position that she was in. That's going to be it for damage. Did we advance those? Yeah, we did all of our advance. Okay. And then it is going to be the Red Kings. So the French are going... Wow, we're heavy on the French action here, and that might do them a lot of favors. Our Sybil. Sailing Master is dead. She was at... We declared that she was dropping down to half sail last turn, did we not? Oh boy, see, this is why the author recommends you put a little marker on here to remember exactly where she's at. I think she was at full sail. We kept her at full sail because she was sailing into the wind. We knew it was going to knock down her speed. So she is only going to be able to move, and here's where the loss of your Sailing Master comes in. Without the leader there screaming orders at those idiots up in the rigging, he's only going to be able to move 9 inches instead of the full 11. And we are going to go ahead and just race up, because now with 9 inches of movement, she will be falling behind. At the conclusion of movement, our spacing will look something like this, and the British now get to effect some repairs. They still have 8 chances to repair something. The only thing they have to repair are hull boxes. Oh, hull boxes and crew. They can repair 2 hull boxes, and they will repair none, and they can repair some crew, and they will get back 2 of their crew points, leaving them with a total of 10 down. And then the last thing will be the firing for the British, and thanks to the turn of the cards, the British are not going to be able to get off any shots. They don't have anybody within their firing arc. That is the end of turn number 5. We advance our turn record to turn number 6, and we check to see if reinforcements show up. With a result of a 5, our tally becomes 20, and it will. The Torbay finally appears on scene. The question is, where does the Torbay appear? Does the Torbay appear on a 1, 2, 3 down here, and on a 4, 5, 6 up there? So the Torbay will appear right here, heading due north on an intercept course. And that will make things interesting for the next turn. They do have the advantage of the wind. And for movement, with a Black King, the British are going to get to move first. The Torbay, excited, they are at full sail. They finally get to get in on the action. They're going to come due north 10 inches. The British ship will pop up to full sail for the next turn. They really need it. Will they? No, they won't. This may wind up turning into a couple of 1v1 duels, and we'll stick the camera on the one that looks most interesting if that's the case. Instead, what we're going to do, and for future reference, I may need to cut the movement rates and the cannon fire rates down by half so that I can get more ships on my table. It'll look a little weird to me if I do that, because then my ships will only be like, that'll be short range, and this will be as far as they can fire, which just, the scale's all off. I don't like that. But for now, the London can only move at half speed. With all 4 sails, that means they will be able to move a total of 6 inches, and I'm contemplating swinging back around to take this guy out. Leave the Torbay is unhurt, and the Torbay is a 74 ship of the line. This is a fair fight. So let's do that. Let's go ahead with our Sailing Master still alive. We can make our 30-degree turns. 1 into the wind, 2 into the wind, and then we will move. Okay, so we're going to... what we'll need to do is move up, because we want to make sure that we have the shot here. We're going to move up 3 inches, and then we'll make that 60-degree turn. And even though it puts us a little bit further away, these sailing guys are good at math. Even though it puts us a little bit further away, it does mean that we've got the better fire arc for them. That's it for the British movement. And then, oh boy, here comes the British firing. And again, are we firing in a stern rake position? If we put this here and we line it up, I'm looking down on it, we are stern raking once again. Oh baby, this is not going to go well. The HMS London still has 9 shots down here, and within 12 inches, we are going to be hitting on 4 5s and 6s. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits on the poor little 40-gun Sybil, which will take us down to... We still have pretty good crew, but because it's a stern rake, we are at about half crew. But because it is a stern shot, we are, or a bow shot, we are going to have to turn over 10 damage cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boy, that's a lot of diamonds. And you really want to hit that flush in a game like this, because it concentrates all your fire on one ship's system. And as soon as any system goes down, that pretty much puts the guy out of the fight. So the 7, 8, 9 and the queen of diamonds is going to be a total of 12 additional crew plus a chain of command. So that's our first chain of command point there. The 12 points is going to take them down to just 3 remaining. And then with the 2, let's see, what else do we got? The spades, the 2 and the 8 of spades is going to be a fire, a gun, and another crew. I'm just looking to see if our crew is even going to survive. And I think that's it for the crew. The 3 of diamonds is a fire. Yeah, here it is. So a couple of fires, a couple of crew. But the kicker is that the 10 and the queen of hearts is 5 hull boxes. We've only got 5 remaining on this ship. With that last hull box, the Sybil is required to strike her colors. Now, she's not sunk yet, but she has clearly suffered so much damage. The crew has to put 100% of their efforts into controlling the leaks. Otherwise, the ship is going down. That's only half of our firing. The London still has 9 shots that they can put onto the Scipio. They will be hitting on, they are at from 6 to 12 inches, so they will only be hitting on 4s, but they are shooting lights out today. There's that British gunnery for you. 8 hits altogether. That just about seals the deal. And we can go through the cards one at a time. 8 hits, there's 5, we are down to just 4 crew boxes. And if we do the damage just one at a time, the King of Clubs, that's 3 mast boxes, 1, 2, 3. The 9 of Clubs is going to be, we just need a couple of crew here. 9 of Clubs is going to be 2 more mast boxes. And we know most of those diamonds are out already, right? Because we haven't reshuffled. 3 crew, and that leaves the Scipion with just 1 crew remaining. 3 of Clubs is no damage. The Red Joker is an explosion. Lose 5 crew, draw 5 more damage cards for the ship. So I'm going to pause right there because that is the end of the fight with the last crew marked off. So how did we do? Well, Captain Nicholas Henri de Giraud did way better in the real world than our Captain Nick did here on the tabletop. Although he lost his ship, he was able to at least keep it out of the hands of the British. No small feat. Our British are going to be able to take both of these ships as a prize. I would imagine that the big boy that did the most damage will come alongside here, and these guys will come alongside here and say, hey, let us help you. And by help you, I mean clap you on irons while our crew rescues your ship and sails it back to Chatham so we can get some fat prize loot. The British captains were Captain Kempthorne over there on the London, and Captain Guidon on the Torbay. As with the historical result, the plucky little British sloop was not able to get into, is it a sloop? Yeah, it's 14-gun sloop. The Badger wasn't able to get into the mix. So, hey, look at that. We did pretty good. You know, I think this is probably a much more likely result for this battle. If things had not gone perfectly for the French, they wouldn't even have been able to sink their ship in the harbor. But hey, what are you going to do? The other question is this game any fun? I think it is. I think I kind of prefer this to Fighting Sail. It's a little more complicated. There's a lot more to think about when it comes to doing damage, but that just means as you are playing the game, you are thinking about your ship the way a ship's captain would. What is my priority here? Am I worried about the leaking hull right now? Not if the fire is almost to the magazine powder. That has got to be my top priority. Although if I have a fire that's down here and I know I've got 4 more turns, maybe my priority is getting my orders to the crew in time. Fix the command star. Without that command star, everything goes to pot. And of course, some things are irreplaceable, right? If your gunnery captain is gone, there's really nothing you can do. So really kind of an interesting experience. A little bit less focus on the maneuvering, although those stern rakes are just devastating. Keep the boats out of your stern. The movement is a little bit less predictable, but I think that's in line with what a captain would go through, given the fact that the seas themselves, the winds are unpredictable. In the real world, the French ship was able to get away. It caught just this little gust of wind that took it out of cannon range and gave them the time to make repairs that they could get out of the way. Their repair crews worked a little better. They rolled a lot more 5s and 6s to get their masts back in operation. So, interesting game. I kind of like this one. little bit more static because you're dealing with a whole wide table, but I think you could probably put together, some really interesting, fair fights, maybe ahistorical, and who knows, maybe I'll start poking around the internet, see if I can come up with some more, 2v2 ships of the line games that would be appropriate for the channel. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Till next time, I'm praying for you.